Hi, my name is Rich Levitan. I am an emergency physician. I'm an airway enthusiast. I've spent the last 30 years focused on airway management, specifically how to make the procedure reliable, reproducible, and how to train emergency anesthesia providers, pre-hospital providers, how to train folks to do well in this critical moment of resuscitation and airway management. Over the years, we have evolved significantly from our standard rigid metal blades, Macintosh direct laryngoscopes, to hyperangulated video laryngoscopes, the glide scope, and then Mac blade self-contained video laryngoscopes, the iView. But we have this collection of different intubation devices, some with conventional Mac blades, some with hyperangulation. And we have also acquired over the years a collection of different aids to placing the tracheal tube. The problem of placing tracheal tubes in the trachea is related to the fact that our tracheal tubes are curvilinear. They have a wide side-to-side dimension. And as we approach a target, the tube itself can block the line of sight to that target. So as direct laryngoscopy began to be used in elective anesthesia and resuscitation, it was appreciated that we should have a better means of delivering the tube to the target without blocking the line of sight. And Robert Macintosh in 1949 was an early promoter of using what he called gum elastic catheter, what we now call the Bougie. The Bougie is a round rod, relatively long dimensioned, 65, 70 centimeters long. It has an upturned distal tip, and because of its long axis with a small distal deflection, its side-to-side dimension is very narrow. And that's advantageous as we approach the target, because on placement, the 5 millimeter outer diameter versus this tracheal tube, for instance, which is a 7.5 millimeter and has an outer diameter of 10, the Bougie is half the outer diameter. So it's easier to place this towards the target without blocking the line of sight. Additionally, it has an upturned distal deflection, which, if oriented correctly, gives you tactile feedback of the tracheal rings. So we started with tracheal tubes, moved on to adding a Bougie to assist with this. And then in the 1960s, 1970s, a number of manufacturers, especially in the US, promoted the use of a malleable stylet. And these are either steel or aluminum with a thin plastic cover over them that could be placed inside the tracheal tube to straighten it out and basically give it a long and narrow shape with a distal deflection similar to the Bougie. And throughout medicine, there are different devices that are long and straight with distal deflections. So everything we use in narrowing body cavities have that general principle: long, narrow, with a distal deflection for visualization. So I use these malleable stylets I insert it to the point, it goes to the distal cuff, so I make sure this is got that stop there. I don't want it to extend out. I give it a bend here, and I call this straight to cuff stylet shaping, and I'm aiming for about 25 to 35 degrees, basically similar to the distal deflection of a Bougie. But in addition to having a Bougie, having a malleable stylet, when we introduced hyperangulated video laryngoscopes, the first of which was the glide scope, Jack Pacey realized that it was useful to have a rigid stylet to introduce this, get around the curvature of the blade, and then pop this into the trachea and to introduce the tube that way. Because with hyperangulation, you don't have a direct visualization of the target, but you have to get the tube around the curvature of the blade. So in summary, with the development of direct laryngoscopy, hyperangulated videolaryngoscopy, and with self-contained, conventional shape Macintosh videolaryngoscopy, we have, over the years, acquired 3 different devices to assist with tube delivery: the Bougie, the malleable stylet, and a rigid hyperangulated stylet. About 10 years ago, I began developing a device that I believe achieves all 3 of the benefits of using these different devices with their respective blades, but does so actually more efficiently and gives you more reliable tracheal feedback. This product, the Universal Stylet Bougie, in my opinion, is a better stylet than a stylet. It's a better bougie than a bougie, and it's a better hyperangulated tube introducer device than the rigid, standard hyperangulated stylet.